I'm Mimi Roskin Berger, and I'm very happy today to have a conversation with Sharon Chaiklin. Both of us were individuals who were interviewed by Marcia Kalina for the article in the Oxford Handbook on Jewishness and Dance about the Jewish roots and principles of dance therapy. And so I'm very happy to be able to talk directly to Sharon today. I'm going to talk and ask her some of the questions that Marcia asked us at the very beginning when this project was initiated. So, good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, Mimi.
And I'm just going to ask you the first question. In what religious tradition or denomination did you grow up?
Well, what is most interesting is that I grew up Jewish, but not in any particular Jewishness. My parents became political rather than religious. And so I grew up in a political household, but acknowledging our Jewishness, but not practicing it at all. So the values I think came from that, not from the Jewishness, except from their Jewishness into their political. This was in the 30s and 40s, of course, when it was quite a time.
Yes, yes. I had somewhat similar background, not exactly, but in regard to Judaism, how do you identify now? How do you feel about it now?
Well, we we became more Jewish as a family as that we had children, and we wanted them to know what it was to be Jewish, so that when somebody called them a Jew, that they knew what that meant to them. So we all became more Jewish and became involved more in more religious rituals. However, I still consider myself a secular Jew, so that I am involved with it, and but not going to temple every week.
Yeah, I understand very well. Uh, do you have any sense of how you might describe what you think are Jewish values?
Yes, I think that the values from my parents came through, even though it was political. I think they were the same values, which was to be respectful of people, that education was important, and that one needed to make some kind of contribution in the world. I think that was basic.
You got that from your parents and lived that way, even though you weren't in the traditional sense an observant Jew.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think back to when you decided to become a dance movement therapist, do you think your Jewish upbringing and the values you've talked about as you define them, do you think they contributed to your making your professional choice or starting to explore
No,
dance therapy?
I think I think it all comes from the same place, that of having. Well, first of all, uh, one of the things my parents gave to me was to watch a lot of dance performance. So dance was important to me personally. So that was part of that. But then the other part was, uh, how do you contribute to the society? How do you deal with I was going to be a social worker first until I found out about dance therapy, and that just clicked for me. So that it's the same thing of giving to others and being aware of the needs of others and how to make the world a better place.
Where did you grow up, Sharon?
I grew up in New York City.
Ah, I did as well. And I started out to be a clinical psychologist and then veered off to dance therapy. So the journey was similar. Do you, your, the values and the background you've talked about, did they further influence any direction you took in the development of the way you practiced or taught dance therapy?
Um, well, it's hard to say
Yeah.
because once you become involved in being a dance therapist, then what you have to do is practice what you believe in that profession. So it was being respectful of the people you work with and how to work with them. So I don't know how much it has to do with being becoming a dance therapist or the values of Judaism involved with it. It gets all mixed up.
Yeah. Do you remember who did you study dance with when you were very young?
I did not. I danced all by myself all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, my parents thought I should take piano lessons, and I was terrible.
oh, another similarity. I took piano lessons and I was also terrible. So we ended up dancing. So you didn't take formal dance classes?
No, not until I got to college. And then I took everything and I was auditing everything. And until I was at Sarah Lawrence and Bessie Schoenberg was the head of the dance. And Bessie
Mm.
said, "Why don't you call dance a major? You're taking everything in the major to make it a major," which I was just auditing. Which so that's what I did. I switched over to dance as a major with social work as a minor.
Yeah, when I was at Bard, I stayed a psych major, but did all the dance as a minor, so we had some
We just
similarity,
reversed. Yeah.
reverse some similarities there. Is there anything that you want to add to our memories and your feeling about Jewishness and dance therapy?
Well, it's just very interesting to me that so many people, particularly in the beginning of dance therapy when we were forming the profession, so many of us were Jewish. And I think it was connected also to the civil rights movement, which is coming at the same time, because the
Mhm.
values were the same. Again, I think it's connected to the sense of things should be good in the world, and how do you help make things good in the world. And the problems of civil rights were so in the forefront in the 60s that you could not help but be part of it.
Yes, and I think all of us who were at the beginning of dance therapy, we all were involved one way or another in the civil rights movement and connected to the values that Marsha Kalina extrapolated from her interviews with all of us. I think the pioneering spirit that runs through Judaism was very important in the civil rights movement. The spiritual value and the value of tikkun olam, or repairing the world, which I think was the base for all of us in our journey in dance therapy and working in civil rights. So there's a strong connection there. I mean, also we didn't. When we were developing dance therapy as a profession, it's not that we discovered dance therapy, because dance therapy had been part of cultures throughout the ages. It's just that the values of Judaism were there behind us as we helped to develop dance as a profession of dance therapy.
Right.
And also were part of our involvement with the civil rights movement that was strong at that time as well.
Well, I think you said it quite well, that were we were creating something and creation and creativity certainly is a value. And anyway, I'm glad to be both a dance therapist and Jewish.
Yes, I am too. And I want to thank you so much for this brief conversation, but I think it really underlined and emphasized a lot of the thoughts and points that we want to really bring forward so that people understand how, as we helped in developing dance therapy as a profession, that some of that impetus came from our Jewish background, secular and religious. So thank you so much, Sharon.
Thank you so much, Mimi. It's been a pleasure to talk with you.
I'll see you again soon, I'm sure.
Hopefully so.